It was a simple smile, involuntary, the kind of smile you flashed at a toddler wearing a funny hat, and in spite of myself, I smiled back. On my other side, my uncle pulled an already limp handkerchief from his pocket and swiped it across the back of his neck. Where Ba was wiry and compact, Uncle Robert was tall and wide by Singaporean standards, with an ample belly perched precariously atop his belt. He grinned at me. "Hot, right?" he asked cheerfully. He reached over and squeezed my father's bicep. "Gretchen is American now," he said, elongating the word and chuckling. "Can no longer tahan the heat." Singaporeans take perverse pride in the local climate, where temperatures rise to the high 80s year-round and never dip below 75 degrees. Our tiny island sits off the southernmost tip of the Malaysian peninsula in Southeast Asia, just 1 degree shy of the equator. In polite conversation, we'll tell you we have 2 seasons, hot and wet, and hot and dry. In less polite conversation, we'll reveal there are 3, hot, very hot, and very fucking hot. During my time in the Bay Area, I learned to keep my mouth shut when my American friends complained of the humidity. Standing there on the front steps with my silk blouse pasted to my back, I thought of crisp San Francisco fall days, of warm sunlight on cold skin. I was about to launch into a new round of protests when a long, dark car glided through the gate and pulled into a spot. 2 men stepped out. The older was short, with slicked-back white hair atop a head that seemed too large for his slight body. The younger was slim, but broad-shouldered and taller than his companion, though the height discrepancy could have been due in part to his hair, which he wore gelled up in a subtle faux hawk. I'd noticed this hairstyle on other young Singaporean men, and before that on fashion-forward members of the San Francisco gay community, and I found it too contrived to be stylish. Aside from his hair, the younger man's most distinguishing feature was a pair of glossy black spectacles, slim around the lenses and broad at the temples, which so complemented his face they seemed to be part of him, as inextricable as a nose or an ear. Since returning home, I'd renounced all but the most basic forms of grooming. Now, I tried not to think about my scraggly shoulder-length strands, or the bags under my eyes, or the way my lips remained cracked beneath layers of chapstick. Ba and Uncle Robert had already briefed me on the visitors. Kendro Santoso ran a chain of upscale Pan-Asian restaurants all over Southeast Asia. Jakarta, where he was based, Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, Manila, and now Singapore. The latest Spice Alley was slated to open at the Shangri-La Hotel within the year. Mr. Santoso was taking a tour of the plant before he decided whether to sign an exclusive wholesale contract with Lin's soy sauce. My father and uncle thought it would be interesting for me to participate, and naturally, I disagreed. As a child, I'd loved coming to the factory with my father on Saturday mornings. I'd spent many a family dinner listening to the grown-ups debate the virtues of cedar versus oak barrel aging. At 13, I'd even spent the June school holidays working on the bottling line, as my cousin Cal had before me. But that grueling job only strengthened my resolve never to enter the family trade. That was the last time I'd worked at Lin's. I'd learned nothing since. I knew little about what my father and uncle actually did, but Ba dismissed my concerns. He assured me that none of my assignments were urgent. The other admins would manage just fine without me. Mr. Santoso came toward Uncle Robert with his hand extended. He apologized for being late, even though he was right on time. Then, he introduced his son, his youngest. He was called James. "And this is Gretchen, my daughter," said my father. "Just home from America." I clamped my arms to my sides in an attempt to hide the sweat stains. "She's very bright," Uncle Robert added, as if describing a puppy or a small child.